Welcome all, my name is Lachlan from Bagogames, and today we're going to be unboxing the Asus Maximus VIII Hero motherboard. Now we recently received one of these to review from Asus, and this is part of their Z170 Skylake lineup, and it did incredibly well. It received a 9 out of 10 and a gold award for performance, so definitely check that out in the description below. Now when you first open up the box, you're going to get a plastic cover with a window which shows off the motherboard, and believe me, I think that's pretty much suggesting that you're going to need a window in your case, because this is a very visually appealing motherboard, and you can see the aesthetics section there, and we're going to go into a lot of detail about how this thing looks, and just how it will fit into your system and what that will look like. Before we jump on into the motherboard itself and detail everything that it has to offer, because as you can see it does look pretty extensive, we're first going to look at what's under the box and what Asus have included with their motherboard alongside the actual board itself. Now this thing comes in at roughly £180 at the point of making this video, which is mid-March or sort of early-ish March 2016, so there's got to be a lot of stuff here. First and foremost, we have the IO shield, which is pretty basic, but it has a nice ROG Republic of Gamers engraving. We also have the Maximus VIII guide, which is incredibly extensive and very well detailed, and believe me, if you're building a system for Skylake, you're going to need a detailed motherboard guide, because pretty much anything can go wrong and right, and you need to know your wits about what is happening with your board, and there's an incredibly detailed section on error codes and post notes, and it's very good to see, and I'm sure lots of new builders out there will find it incredibly useful. We have the SLI bridge, which is a Republic of Gamers branded one. In my opinion, it looks better because it has sort of like a black circuitry going on. Definitely a nice change away from the normal brown / reddish color. We have a door holder, door sign thing. I don't really know what people call these anymore, but for some reason lots of manufacturers have started including these. I guess they're nice additions, but more sort of to the cosmetics of things. You also get some stickers as well. These are purely just, you know, aesthetic purposes. Slap them on your case, slap them on your accessories, somewhere to go, and they have sort of like a metallic shimmer to them. And these are quite useful. They are labels for some of your cabling and drives and things that you're doing, so you have 100% a good idea of what is going on when you organize your system. We have a disc which includes lots of different softwares that come with the motherboard, including some of the tuning and overclocking software available, such as Easy Tuner. And I definitely recommend installing those provided you do have a disk drive. You can of course download them from the site too. We have a Republic of Gamers badge which slaps onto the front of your PC, and believe me, it does look good on the front of a H440 red and black case. We then have a metric ton of SATA cable connectors, some in L-shaped and some are normal straight shaped SATA connectors, and these will be used for all of your drive solutions, and there's quite a lot of them included, which is great to see. And then of course finally we have the pin connectors, and pretty much everything you could possibly need has been included straight out of the box. There was nothing we had to look for during the setup and installation of the board, and the guide was incredibly well detailed with what comes out of the box, where it should be. So first time builders out there, for those of you who are watching this should be an incredibly effective way of putting your first build together. And I do have to stress that that motherboard guide is in fact incredibly helpful, and it's much better than some sort of like the paper pamphlets that you get these days in some of your motherboard boxes. This is actually a full-blown detailed guide, so props to Asus for including something which is very well thought through. It explains all the post codes and Q codes which are going to be seen on the board as well, and of course where those show up, and I'm sure lots of people will have an easy time getting their system to post once they've installed this motherboard. Now to actually look at the board itself, and I have to say that this is probably one of the prettiest boards available. We have sort of like a red and black plasticky shroud, which unfortunately is somewhat flimsy, but it does hide the heat spreaders and merge the system quite well together. And we also have sort of like dashings of silver and red, and of course the Republic of Gamers logo on the VRM cooler, but it's ultimately a silver, black and red color theme. We also have buttons to clear the CMOS. The CMOS battery doesn't have to be ripped out of the board in order to reset the system, which, believe it or not, is still a thing on most motherboards. You can actually just fully press one button now. There's also a flash button for your motherboard as well if you want to flash your BIOS or update them, even whilst the system is powered off. Now this plastic shroud connects quite nicely to the I/O shield, and as you can see we have an array of ports at the back including USB, Type-C and Type-A. We also have the flash button as I mentioned earlier before. We also have gold audio connectors and all kinds of ports that you would need including HDMI and VGA. Now along the back here we also have some back plating to make the board have a very solid overall feeling. LED lights also project from the back of the board as well as the front of the VRM cooler, so you can actually adjust these within the software available in the BIOS and of course the disc to change the LEDs and have any kind of color that you want to appear off the edges of the motherboard, which is really fantastic and it looks great. Now the board itself aesthetically I just want to give a few notes to. Now, although the plastic shroud is somewhat flimsy, it does very much bring it together, and I think a lot of people who use perhaps an Asus Strix graphics card will really appreciate the color scheme of the board. Now, I threw this inside a H440 black and red case, and then later on I believe a Corsair 750D, and you can really mess around with this board to make it look fantastic. Now, when combined with things such as the NZXT hue lighting, or any kind of lighting strip for that matter, you can get a really great glowing effect coming from the board. And although this thing has tons of features, which of course you can check out in the review in the description, it just looks amazing. I'd especially say that when you throw on the LED lights on the back to a white LED or a red LED, and then combine that with strips that are available online that you can purchase, you can really get a very good looking system out of this with very minimal effort in my opinion, which is really good to see. The board itself, in my opinion, has a overall solid feel. The black PCB that's been very well reinforced, the separate audio PCB which has been isolated for the Supreme FX processor looks fantastic and is covered well by another plastic shroud, but overall the board itself just feels incredibly solid, and it's something that you'll notice when you first pull it out of the box. And I do have to say props to Asus for really good manufacturing and design for what is, in my opinion, one of the best Z170 boards that we have reviewed here at Bagogames, and just one of the best Z170 boards I've had the chance to play around with as well. So that's it for today's unboxing video. Make sure you check out the review in the description below, which will give you guys a full rundown of all the details and features of what this board has to offer. Like we said, it scored a 9 out of 10, so a definite good idea to purchase if you're going for a new Z170 Skylake build. And of course it details all the UEFI BIOS as well, which are a great feature of the board, and lots of other things that you can come to expect should you come to purchase this motherboard from any specific retailer. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you again soon in another video.